Welcome to the God, Money, and Purpose podcast. My name is Vivian Villacis, and I'm so excited to be here with the love of my life.
My name is Raul Villacis, and this is the God, Money, and Purpose podcast. So if you're watching us from YouTube, you're watching us from Instagram, you're watching us from Facebook, please comment, subscribe, and let us know where you're watching us from. We'll do some Q&A today. And the topic for today is what?
We were talking about rituals and routines. So I often ask the women to share their questions, whatever questions that they're going through, whatever questions that they want us to answer. And there's so many good questions. But I don't know, this one just kind of, touched the chord.
Before we get to the question, I just want to let the audience know and understand that the reason that we do this podcast is for them. Like right before we came here, I told you, like, I don't feel like doing the podcast.
You didn't want to come.
Like I've had a hell of a week. It's been a lot of craziness going on, and I just go somewhere. I didn't feel like doing a podcast, but you remind me, it's like we have to show up for the people who send us the questions.
And also the funny thing is, like, you said that, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, Raul, listen, today I wanted to talk and answer this question about routines and rituals, and how are we like not gonna show up just because you don't feel
part
like
of this is like you as a listener, you're holding us accountable to continue to show up. To continue. And that's a big part when it comes to relationships. That's a big part when it comes to business. Having somebody that's holding you accountable to a higher standard makes all the difference. Because if it was up for us, probably we're not do this podcast. Because
and I think like when you say it out loud, when you say it to someone else, or you're like you have someone that's looking for that, then it's like, oh, okay, it's not only me, it's not only about me, but it's like the other people.
I think this week that has been a big lesson for me.
Yeah.
Because we were supposed to be in Colorado. We were supposed to be at an event.
Yes.
And I forgot that I had a TEDx talk over the weekend.
I can't believe you could forget that.
So the good thing is that because I had two TEDx talks scheduled for last year before the COVID.
That's right.
And they kept on rescheduling, and now it happened. And it was glad that I checked my schedule right before we booked the flights. And I'm like, man, I have to go there. And I had a great time doing that TEDx talk. So shout out to the people in Connecticut that set that up. Thank you for the invite. And then we got to the airport on Sunday.
We were supposed to be leaving to Colorado.
And what happened at the airport?
Well, first, like I even felt this intuition that I wasn't fully committed to going to this event, and maybe not just the event, but like the flight and just going through the whole motion of that. And not because we haven't traveled, because we've traveled.
Yeah, and you gave me the feedback, right? You gave me feedback, and I said, and as a hunter, like I'm like, no, we have to go. Like we already committed. We already paid for the event. We already paid for the seminar. So we're gonna go there.
So that the intuition I had, and then I told you that, and then you were like, I didn't book the flights, which I usually do, and I waited, and then you had the TEDx talk. Then the next thing I was like, okay, Raul, should we go? Okay, we did it. We had the flight. We were ready to go. Our flight was delayed. Not one time, but 3 times while we were there.
And that's where the message was loud and clear.
3 times.
That's where the message was loud and clear. I think that we have to understand how to listen. What's the difference between being persistent and being pig-headed?
Yeah.
And I think it's a very thin line. It's like, I'm persistent. I'm one of the most persistent motherfuckers out there. Like I'll get shit done.
Without a shadow of doubt, you are.
But then I started thinking back and asking myself, like, do I really, like, what's the message here? Because I'm doing everything in my power to go, but at the same time, am I listening to the voice that's telling me, you know what, you need to stop chasing this because it's something better for you.
And for me, like when it comes, like I let you do what you need to do, but for me, it's almost like, okay, it doesn't even feel right anymore. And then I think when we push through, there's a lot of times that I push through when I know that it's fear-based, or my ideal woman that's like stopping me at my core. But then there's this gut feeling, this sixth sense that we as women have. And I think that when we override that, then that's when we're like, we go to things or we say things that it didn't really feel right. And when we're there, then we regret that decision. So I didn't want to feel that. And I just said that to you. I'm like, it doesn't feel right. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't feel right. So I'm really honored that you made a decision for both of us to just stay.
I didn't listen, because then I started looking at like, when did I not listen to your intuition? And I think that we could have, as men, we need to start listening more to the woman's intuition, because you guys are more tuned in than we are. I'm learning to tap into the feminine energy that from that
wow,
that taps
too close for you. We're too close.
Listens to the intuition, but because man, we're so driven to the outcome. We want to get things done. Result driven. So when we don't get the results, we start asking ourselves, am I not good enough? Am I going to win or lose? But the reality is that I made a decision at that moment that the experience is the learning. That I was going to go to a seminar to learn, but what I'm going through, the experience right now, is teaching me something.
Right.
It's teaching me what I'm supposed to learn. So we actually took some time off and went to New York City. First time in over a year.
Yes.
It was actually this week is our anniversary for the coronavirus shutdown.
Yes. It's been a year since we got sick.
This year,
it's been a year since you did your event.
Last year, this week.
It was a big event.
We closed the big event.
That's right.
And then we had to close sooner, one day sooner because of the New York shutdown for coronavirus.
That's right. We were in the middle of everything during these times.
And then you got sick. I mean, this time last year you were sick. So I mean that also to me, like this week I've been really meditating on that. Like really like gratitude. Like every morning
me too.
So grateful that man, like we went through a whole fucking year of trials and tribulations and of one thing after another. And it's like, man, like I feel like we went through a storm. We went through one of the biggest storms. Like you got sick, I got sick.
We did go through a storm.
Then the whole pandemic and the energy behind it is like, it's been a crazy ride.
And it's like, it's been a year and we're finally coming out of it. And we get to see like the gifts of everything. Like I just did a post about like, when we go through the storm, there's always a rainbow that comes out. And I love that feeling of like, okay, God, like, what do you have? What is the gift behind all of this? Because I think like, when you're in that storm, you don't get to see it. You don't get to feel that, even though there's times, there's glimpses. And for me, it was like, now I really get to look back and it's like endless amounts of gifts that God has gifted me with.
We had a mastermind call with some of my clients today, and we're talking about like the storm, right? And one of the guys said that in the Hindu religion, they talk about the storm is where God is. The eye of the storm is where God is.
Okay.
Because in the eye of the storm is when you realize that it's peaceful, but then everything else is going around you, right? Yeah. And I read somewhere that said that the surrendering, like for me, when I think about surrendering, for me at the beginning was weakness, was defeat. And if one thing that I could say that I learned this past 12 months of going through what we went through is really surrender. Surrender to God's will, surrender to being not in control, surrendering to what's going to happen next. So I thought surrender meant defeat. I thought surrender meant giving up. Then I read somewhere that surrender is becoming one with the divine. I thought it was beautiful because now when you surrender, you're actually allowing God to work on your behalf, to step in. When you're weak, he steps in. When you don't have the strength, he steps in. When you don't think, you know what you're doing, he steps in. But you have to first surrender so you could allow God to show you the path.
And sometimes it's the hardest things because it's like we want to have control of it all. And then we feel like, well, let me do it my way. Let me get this done. And then God, you could just add on whatever it is you want to add on. But yeah, it doesn't work that way. And I think like, it takes God or situations, experiences, life, getting us to that place that we're so humbled that we really got to like disconnect from everything that we think that we are, that we have, that we do. It humbles us. It brings us to our knees. And it's like, oh, okay. Like then you get to look up and it's like, okay, God, like what would you have me do from the very beginning?
And that's when you start looking at the signs, right? Like what's in the path. Like I remember this time last year, you were sick, I was sick.
Yep.
And then I got an email from an energy healer saying, sign up for my program. I'm using energetics to heal right now what's going on, right? And I said like, shit, I need to try something, right? Because like, something is not working, so I need to heal my body, right? So I signed up for his course. I signed up for his experience. And through this year, I've been using some of those techniques to heal, what we went through, right? And I did a meditation, I recorded a meditation that is a healing meditation that we did when we were going through every single day, I think for 14 days.
Yeah.
Right before going to bed, we did a healing meditation, 25 minutes, and that helped tremendously. Like that really re-energized our bodies to the point that I truly believe that was the reason why you broke through from that.
For me, I believe it was prayer from all.
Well, it's prayer. Is the meditation. Is just finding the gift. All these things, right?
Yeah.
But then I record and I send it to my clients, and now that's part of the ritual. That's part of what they listen to when they're stressed out.
Oh, that's so cool.
And I've gotten so many feedback from my clients saying, man, that meditation was awesome, man. That healing meditation really helped me when when I'm going through a lot of things. And I think about it, like sometimes we think the storms that we're going through is for us, but we don't know is going to be impacted when we come out of the storm, and the lessons that we learn from the storm that we'll be able to impact somebody else.
And if we're humble enough to share that experience, because I think a lot of the times, like, we want to hold on to our story because there's a lot of like shame and guilt of what you went through. But the minute that you share with somebody else, and it becomes a gift to somebody else too.
As your story becomes, right? your mess becomes your message, right? Your story, whatever you go through, the trials and tribulations, that's becomes somebody's inspiration. I always say you either somebody's excuse or somebody's reason why to break through.
Yep. I love that.
Great. So, listening to us, thank you for listening. We got Cindy, we got Mo, we got Danny, we got John, we got Jorge. Thank you for logging in on Facebook. Let's get into the questions. So
one of the questions that I liked is, it's something that kept coming up for a lot of the women, and it has a lot to do with, well, let me just read you. Let me just see the question if I have it. I love to see how you and your husband have such a deep connection, loving connection, but what can you say to the ones that no longer have it? It's hard for us to even make a date night work. Where do we start? And I really resonated with that, because there's a lot of women that I'm speaking to right now, or even my admin, Cindy. And there's this sense of like, okay, I love my husband. I would love to have this time, but I don't even know where to start. And just, me putting myself in those shoes and remembering how it was for us, like, okay, how do we start? How do we even start having this day nights? How do we even start having this deep, loving connection for each other? And we jot down a couple of things for you to actually have. And I just want you to think, like, whether you have a ritual or a routine, like most of the times we have a routine in our life, whether it's, brushing your teeth or checking your emails or doing a certain way, like an exercise. Like, we all have a routine. The cool thing is, like, when you are in a relationship, it's that sense of like you have a priority for a ritual between your husband or between your wife, your partner. Then you have this ritual that becomes a priority for the two of you, because we could have our own rituals and our own routine, but how do you create something that's for the two of us, And I know it's not easy. I know that. I think, like, even to begin that ritual of having a date night, like, it creates you having a babysitter if you have kids. It creates you just like going somewhere and spending some money. I know for some people it's a challenge even now because of the economy and all the things that they have gone. But I was just thinking about that. So one of the things that we love to do, even unconsciously, that I see like we do when we get into the car, when we're going somewhere, we have our time together, which is precious to us, right? And we have a playlist. We have some music that we play. And it reminds me when we were boyfriend and girlfriend, like, you used to make this tapes, which kind of like gives our
remix tapes.
Yeah, remix tapes. And for us, like back then, it wasn't easy to have the music because we had to be listening to the music and then run to the radio. At least that's how it was for me. I don't know how it was for you. And record it.
Yeah, we didn't have Spotify.
We didn't have that, right?
Like, it was like
easy
more
access.
Of catching the DJ when they're playing the song.
And like, for me, that's so cool that I actually get to remember those songs. And now I could create it on my Apple or my Spotify. And then to play those songs all over again when we're sitting in the car, it brings back that beautiful memory that it's like, okay, I actually do love this man. I actually do want to spend this time with him. Let's make the best out of this moment. So I think for me, like, creating that playlist and like going back to that, it's such a deep, loving impact.
So I will add to that, if you're having a challenge connecting with your partner, find what got you to connect with that person in the first place. Like, remembering, just like you said, that's anchoring. Like, the music for me is anchoring. Is a state, right? If you're in a happy state, if you listen to a song when, maybe back in the days, I used to listen to with your girls and you used to like jam to it. Like, it brings back a memory, it's muscle memory. Your brain works with anchoring. We use that a lot in the training that we do. Yeah. So remember what got you to that state. So how can you change your state? By a memory, maybe even going somewhere with him or her that's nostalgic. I think nostalgia brings back a lot more emotion. So we need to bring the emotion back. Again, the energy has to come back. And the second is find a common ground, something that you find both like, right?
Find things that both of you like.
You and I will like movies, right? Different types of movies, but we love to
we compromise. We compromise with the movies.
And we love to be together, and we compromise in.
I like to cuddle. I like to cuddle while we're watching the movie. You like to watch the movie. And most of the time, I'm in your armpit because I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch what's happening in there.
It's something that we enjoy, right? Yeah. So it doesn't have to be. You have to go on a vacation and spend all kinds of money. Is just the time that being together, right? And that's hard. First, I will encourage that person to connect with herself or himself.
Yeah.
I think we can't connect with other people because we lack connection within ourselves. And we're always trying to think, what are they thinking about me? That's the insecurity that we have, because there has been such a gap between the relationship that will bring a lot of insecurity. So if you start connecting with yourself too,
bring that love.
Continue to try and not give up. So the third thing I will add to that is don't give up. It takes practice. Like consistency is the mother of all skills. Like you have to.
I think I also
continue
think that.
To show up and connect with a person.
But before you even get there, I would say even make the effort to make those things happen, because for a long time for us it wasn't easy to, because we have kids. You have your business. I was just starting my business, and I think if we don't make the effort to consciously cultivate our connection, it doesn't happen, right? So if you're making the effort, and I was having a conversation with one of my coaching clients that said, I know for a fact that the men that we're married to, they're running 100 miles an hour, right? But the minute that we kind of just soothe our way between whatever's happening and we go to this middle place, right? We're there. How can we bring you guys out of that is just through first, like you said, fully connecting to ourselves, because we know who we are. We know what we could bring to this relationship. And it's okay, now how do I make an effort to do something that we both like, make the effort to make that happen? And I was even telling her, I said, sometimes it's not even going somewhere or actually going to a place, but I said, what if you just did a picnic or something outside?
It's the intention that matters.
Yeah.
The intention, like for example, you recently, the last month, I've been complimenting you about the cooking, right? And I love that. I mean, you've told me from the beginning you hate cooking, and I'm okay. I'm not, I don't.
You're not trying to sugarcoat me?
I'm not
because you're not gonna do it to me. I'm not
that type of guy that's you have to cook for me, you have to clean for me. No, for me it's I could do it myself. I know
you're so good at that.
I'm not depending on somebody to feed me. I don't want a mother. I want a lover. Right?
I know. I was very clear with you from the very beginning.
But you have come a long way on the cooking, so I'm constantly looking at, wow, this is amazing.
Thank you.
Yesterday you did some I don't know, wraps with chicken that were they were delicious. But and that for me is. It shows that you are trying and the intention, so that me complimenting you sends a signal to your brain of dopamine that wants you to do it again. And so it's a cycle. So if you're always critiquing your man for the shit that he doesn't do, it sends a signal to his brain that he's not good enough, so next time he's not going to want to try. But if you compliment him for the things that he's trying to do, it sends a signal to your brain of dopamine that says, okay, I'm on the right path.
Yeah.
But I think vice versa, both people have to start looking at the little things the improvements, and start feeding on that as you grow together and get back on track.
And you got to really catch yourself, because even last night, so I wasn't planning on cooking, but you came home and you've been on this challenge, right, to eating healthier. And I'm okay, he walks in and he's hungry, but I'm I almost wanted to say okay, I'm not hungry. I don't want to cook. It's already late. And
I was getting triggered because I'm
and I think you had a long day too.
I had a long day. I had a difficult conversation with some guy that
you didn't have your transition period just yet. And then I had to catch myself, and exactly what I did. It's it's exactly what I'm telling you right now. That's exactly what I did. I had to play a song. I put my Mark Anthony music and I had to start dancing and remembering like the times that we danced together, the times, and then it kind of brought back like that nostalgia, that memory. And then it's like, okay, how do I make the effort to show him that I love him? Even though I don't like to cook, even though I don't want to be in this kitchen right now, it will take me literally 10 minutes to cook something for him because he's the easiest man to cook for. And that's exactly what I did. And then when I was cooking, like, and that's something that I totally have changed. And I think maybe, and I've told you this in the past, this is the reason why you feel like the food looks so beautiful, is because I set the intention of like, whatever it is that I'm going to make right now is going to be the best of me, whether it's a sandwich, to a salad, or to a gourmet dinner. Like, it's going to be the best of me. And that setting the intention changes everything. And not just in the food, but in the way that you show up. And like, I understand that there's a lot of disconnect, right? Yeah. There's a lot of disconnect with marriages. But if you set the intention, it's like, I'm going to give you the best of me right now. And I may not feel like it, because that's exactly what happened to us today. It's like, I may not feel like it, but love is a verb. And like, I choose to love you. I choose to show up in love. I choose to show love. So it's like, it's not really the feeling of it, even though I'm all about feeling, but it's like the action of it, because loving is taking that action. And I think that's, thank God that he's always there, and like he shows up in the right times, because then now we wouldn't be married this long. We wouldn't like show love and appreciation and have this deep connection for so many years, because you don't always feel like loving someone. And that's really the honest truth. Like, I don't always feel like cooking, yet I love the way that you're taking care of your body, and the way that you show my kids and you show myself to take care of our bodies. Then I was thinking, like, just a year ago, we were going through all these things. Yeah. Like, how can I not show up and like eat something healthy? So I'm like, let me cook some lettuce wraps. Let me do this. It's like, okay, then it's like, it's that intention. It's that shift. It's like that music.
We forget so quickly.
Yes.
We forget so quickly. So that, I'm in this middle of this 30-day challenge with Dr. Bart. So shout out to Dr. Bart if you're listening.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. Bart.
So he has me down like intermittent fasting for 15 hours a day, almost no carbs, like only eating twice a day. So like no sugar and all this stuff, right? So the past 2 weeks, I think I've lost like 10 pounds already. Like, but the energy that I'm getting from eating clean, the energy that I'm getting from getting rid of all these toxins, is also helping my body, because I used to, like in the mornings, I told you I was getting some pains, like some pains in my joints. Like, I'm getting old. Like, where's this pains coming from?
We were laughing about it all the time, because every morning you would wake up, there was like a
new pain. It's like a new pain. Like what the fuck is going
today?
On? You turn, over 40, and then all these things are starting to hurt, right?
To malfunction.
So when I joined this 30-day challenge, this health challenge, all the little pains started to go away little by little. So again, the dopamine hit on your brain that you're in the right track, like little signals, you're in the right track. So now I'm excited. So I'm eating really clean. And then last night when I came home, there was no food. I said, okay, just give me some lettuce. Just give me something so I can feel myself, because I don't eat nothing anyways. Like,
I thought it was a day that you were fasting. So I'm like, let you fast for a little longer than you have to. Catch me tomorrow morning.
But when you play that music and you did that in the kitchen, it triggered me also too, like the nostalgia. And then I came to the kitchen and I started talking to you. So then
when in doubt, Mark Anthony.
So if you're Spanish, when in doubt, play Mark Anthony. He solves all your problems. Mark Anthony is the go-to playlist.
Yes. So that's the amazing part of like just trying things out. And I think like, if I could say something to the couples that are listening out there, is like, don't give up. Don't give up on yourself, and don't give up on your marriage, because it's so easy for us to just throw the towel and, want to just go out the back door and not look back. But you're always going to end up coming. Like, you always have to end up coming back. And the best thing is just to deal with it as it is, and just learning to shift that.
So I sent a message this week to my clients, and I said, somebody asked me, what's the secret to success, Raul? What's the secret, to your growth? And I said, I don't think there is a secret, but there's a recipe, right? The recipe is, number one, consistency. I would say, like, I'm one consistent motherfucker. I want to be able to show up even when I don't feel like showing up, right?
Right.
The second is discipline. You have to be disciplined. When it comes to love, you have to be disciplined, just like you said, to show up, to choose love, right?
Yep.
The last is commitment. If you're not committed, life doesn't give you what you want. It gives you what you're committed to. So if you're committed to your marriage, if you're committed to your business, you're committed to God, Even if you don't feel like doing it, you're going to be disciplined enough to show up and do what you need to do.
Something good will happen eventually.
And then the consistency is what's going to, in the long run, play out, because it's a numbers game too. Like in marriage, okay, not every date night is going to be on fire and every conversation is going to be connection. But the more you do it, it's a numbers game. You
definitely
have to try
repetition.
And put in the work.
Yep, definitely repetition. I love that. So I hope that we answered that question. It was really a good question, because I know that we could all share, like, we've been there. So that's why we love your questions. And if something comes up, just don't be afraid to share, because if you're going through it, I could guarantee you that most of us have gone through the same thing.
And so you have another question?
Nope, that's the one that I wanted to answer. Yep.
All right, so thank you for your questions. Just keep sending us your questions. Really, again, like I said, we're showing up in here, answering your questions, doing it for you. And I think there's a question right here from Mo Jamal. Let me read it. If any couple wants to connect with a partner to find a date night, why not plan a schedule? Okay, that's not the question. Hold on, sorry.
Yeah, you got to schedule. If it's not in your calendar, it won't happen.
It wasn't a question, it was a statement. Okay.
If it's not in your calendar, it won't happen. I put myself on Raul's calendar plenty of times. I'm like, please pencil me in, even if you have to pencil me in, because if I'm not there, it doesn't happen. And I don't get offended. I just know that we're in this time of age that, we got to kind of plan things out. And here and there, some spontaneous things are good, but...
And the one thing that I will tell you is everything that's worthwhile takes work. Nothing is easy.
That's right. I love that.
Your business is not going to be easy. Your marriage is not going to be easy. A connection with guys. I talk to people all the time. I got a call this morning with this guy who applied for the program. He said, Raul, I want you to help me to go from 1 million to 2 million. Okay, so I set up the structure. I set him up. I helped him, see what he needs to do. All right, now, where are you going to spend your time and your money? Well, I don't have the time. And I don't want to invest to grow my business. Said, what the fuck do you expect? Like, how do you want to grow? How do you want to grow?
Yeah.
If you don't want to spend time or money in your business, you're not going to grow. If you're not going to spend time or money in your marriage, you're not going to grow. If you're going to spend time or money connecting with God, you're not going to. It's like everything has a price. Yeah. You either pay the price with time, you pay the price with money, you pay the price, or energy. You pay the price with regret.
Yeah.
Regret because you end a relationship. Regret because you don't feel disconnected. Regret because you lose your business. There's always a price to pay.
And the cool thing is, like, if you are already in a relationship, like this person sends us a question, right? Like, you're already there. Like, have the awareness to know, like, what it is that you need in your relationship to make this little shifts that could have a huge impact.
And that's it. Little shifts, 1% every single day to create progress, not perfection.
Yeah. I love it.
Great. So thank you for listening to this podcast. Make sure you comment, share, and subscribe. And until next time, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Facebook, follow us on YouTube, follow us everywhere. Except for our bedroom, so we'll keep it private. Learn it, live it, experience it.
Love life.
If you receive any value from this conversation, comment, subscribe, and share so we continue to impact more people and take it to the next level.
And please send us your comments and questions so we could answer them in the next podcast.
See you in the next episode.